Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Less than 24 hours ago, I issued an executive order which declared a state of emergency and deployed the National Guard and all appropriate state assets to Baltimore City. Our entire team has been activated, and all state agencies are actively engaged in restoring order to the city and securing the safety of all law-abiding citizens. Local, state, and regional resources have been deployed throughout the city, and the presence of law enforcement has been rapidly expanding. Tonight, we will have 2,000 National Guardsmen and over 1,000 law enforcement officers on duty. We have law enforcement assets from nearly every single corner of the state of Maryland, as well as other states such as Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and the District of Columbia, who have all dedicated law enforcement officers to our efforts. This combined force will not tolerate violence or looting, which has led to the destruction of property and put innocent Marylanders at risk. There have already been over 250 arrests, and a citywide curfew will take effect at 10 p.m. this evening. Maintaining law and order, protecting innocent lives and property is our #1 priority. We've also begun to assist the victims of yesterday's violence. At sunrise today, I surveyed the damage done last night and thanked law enforcement officers for their dedication. I started at the West Baltimore precinct and the corner of Northern Avenue and Pennsylvania Avenue, then went on to the Mondawmin Mall. During these visits, I saw neighbors working together to restore normalcy to their neighborhoods. We have mobilized over 2,000 volunteers through the Governor's Office of Service and Volunteerism. And this morning, we moved the Governor's Office to Baltimore City, where we held a cabinet meeting where each state agency outlined their efforts to assist the Baltimore City community. Immediately following that meeting, I listened to a group of community leaders who voiced their concerns and provided input on how we can begin the long process of restoring our community. We've been here all day, and we will continue to be here until the threat of violence ends. Our primary mission, again, is to maintain order and to begin to repair the damage inflicted by the violence and looting from last night. Acts of violence and destruction of property cannot and will not be tolerated. Baltimore's families deserve peace and safety in their community, but this is far from over. I have here with me, I'm going to turn the floor over to General Linda Singh, who's the Adjutant General of the Maryland Guard, and she's going to have a few comments. But before I do that, I just want to thank this entire team here at the Maryland Emergency Management Agency who've been working around the clock, coordinating state and local assets, and they're doing a fantastic job. So thank all of you here in the room. General Singh.
Thank you, Governor. First, I just wanted to say I want to thank all of the folks that have actually welcomed the Maryland Guard into their neighborhoods and really into our neighborhoods. I want to ensure that you understand that the Maryland Guard is not just coming in to help protect and really to help reinforce what the police are currently doing. They're doing it because it's also where they live. A lot of these individuals are coming from those same communities. And so it is extremely important to them that they work with the police department, they work with the governor and with the mayor to be able to stand side by side to protect a city that we so love and that we so believe in. And as a result of that, which I think is just monumental, in the last 24 hours, we have actually activated over 1,700 guardsmen. Now that is unbelievable numbers, because typically it takes us about 8 hours to do an activation of a couple of hundred. So we did 1,700 in less than a 24-hour period. And that should say to you, the city of Baltimore, how important it is for the Maryland Guard to be there to support you. Because I did not get any complaints. People came in from all the various parts of Maryland, regardless of where they live, whether it was in the city or in the county, and they did it with a smile on their face so that they could be there to support the police department, they could be there to support the communities. So I think that's extremely important. The other thing that I would like to say is that, you know, we are extremely professional in the way that we are going to carry out our events and how we will deal with our communities in general. We have trained. This is what we train for. We are trained to be able to support the police department. We are trained to be able to support the government at the time of need. So rest assured that we will use the appropriate precautions and the appropriate steps to keep you and our citizens safe. And I thank you.
Thank you, General. Before I turn the floor over to Clay Stamp, who's the director of the Maryland Emergency Management Agency, I just want to thank Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford for his leadership. As I was heading up the office, the new governor's office in Baltimore City, he was here at MEMA all day working with Director Stamp in managing this operation, and we're working together as a team. So thank you, Boyd, for your efforts as well. Now we're going to turn it over to Clay Stamp.
Thank you, Governor. As the Governor's Emergency Manager, I have the honor and privilege to work with a system of dedicated individuals that starts with the Federal Emergency Management Agency and includes all of our state partners as well as our local jurisdictions across the state of Maryland. And I can tell you that the Governor's been clear in his direction, and we have fully engaged as a system, as a community of emergency managers from Ocean City to Oakland, Southern Maryland to Cecil County, to make sure we do what's necessary to give Baltimore City the help that they need. The help that they need so that they can get things under control and do what they need to do to become healthy. I'm happy to report that we continue to successfully handle a number of missions. We've been doing that for the last 24 hours. We've been actually activated since last Saturday. We are still operating under a declaration of a state of emergency. I know there's been some discussion about what that means. I just want to take a second and describe what that means. So as a mayor or a county council president in Maryland, if a situation develops that exceeds their ability to manage that with the resources they have the ability to declare a state of emergency. And that state of emergency gives them certain authorities to do certain things, but it also gives them the ability to reach out for help. And reaching out for help, what that means in Maryland is they call the governor, Governor Larry Hogan in this case, and they say, we have exceeded our ability to maintain this with our own resources and we need your help. And Governor Hogan responded quickly, and I engaged my counterparts, and again, we started moving fast to put together everything that needs to happen to deliver those resources to our group there in Baltimore City. We will continue to do so until this is done, and again, Governor Hogan is clear. We understand it. We're pulling out all stops to do what is ever necessary to help Baltimore City. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. At this time, we'd be happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
I'm wondering how the relationship between the city of Baltimore and those leaders and your office has been. And is it working in step with each other?
Well, we're both pretty busy, but I can tell you that we've been in constant communication with the mayor's office. I've spoken to her on a daily basis for the past week at least. We spoke multiple times yesterday. We spoke today. My senior advisor, Kiefer Mitchell, is a former Baltimore City Councilman and a member of the legislature, has been assigned to work directly with the mayor. He's probably with her right now, we're now coming in to try to help relieve the situation, but it's still Baltimore City, and she's still the mayor. We're here to help her, and we're trying to provide all the help we can possibly give her.
Are you aware of any problems in logistical or dealing with anyone
Not to my knowledge. Maybe if anybody has something they want to talk about. I think so far, and I preface it by saying so far because we've got a long night ahead of us. But so far, I think we've not run into any major issues and any major glitches. We've got things a little bit better under control than they were last night. We got more manpower on the streets, and we're communicating better. And so far, although there have been some arrests, we haven't had the kind of situations we had yesterday afternoon.
And if I could just follow up, what is the plan? What is the plan in the night, and how will you make sure that there isn't any unrest like there was last night?
Well, you can't ensure that there's not going to be any unrest. I'm not a magician, but what I can assure you is that we will put all the resources that we have at our disposal to make sure that the disturbances don't get out of hand and we don't get overwhelmed like happened last night. We've got a lot of manpower on the street. You can see looking around this room, there's a lot of people focused on this problem. And we're in management of the situation now, and we're going to put whatever resources are necessary to make sure we keep the people of Baltimore safe.
Talk a little bit about your experience with the people of Baltimore on your walk.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Pat. It was. I was really touched by the fact that we got up there when the sun was rising this morning, and we walked through ground zero, all the neighborhoods that got hit the worst. And what I saw, there were folks up there this morning at 5 a.m., neighbors helping neighbors, and sweeping up the broken glass, helping people board up their windows, clearing the trash out of the streets. And we tend to focus on all the problems. We've got to focus on the violence, but there's a lot of good going on in the city too. And I found people that really love the city, love their neighborhood, and who are really angry about what happened last night.
They were very happy
to see us. They were very happy to see us. We had people hugging us and thanking us. They were happy to see us, and as the general said, they were happy to see the National Guard. They were happy to see the state police. They were saying, thank you for being here. People are concerned. They want us to restore law and order. We've been very restrained. There's been a pretty good, in spite of the tension out there in the community, we got a lot of people thanking us for being here, and we didn't have any major incidents yet.
How long the extra police and the National Guard will be necessary?
We're going to keep them here as long as is necessary, and we don't know at this point how long that's going to be.
Well, how will you judge that? What has to happen so that you can finally say it's time to get things back to normal?
I'm going to have to make that call myself, and I guess I'll know it when I see it. But we're going to get the best information to make that decision.
Governor, there's a curfew tonight. Any thoughts on how that might be enforced, or what will happen if there are people out?
Well, it gives us an opportunity to clear the streets, and if people are in violation of the curfew, if we feel it makes sense, we can start arresting people.
Governor, do you think the mayor made a mistake by not asking you to deploy the National Guard earlier?
Look, I don't want to point fingers at anyone. I'm not here to place blame. I'm here to try to solve the problem. I don't want to second guess the mayor's decisions. I know that she was trying the best she could. This was a difficult situation. The Baltimore City Police and Fire were doing the best they could. And when she asked us for help, we immediately responded. I know that it typically takes 8 hours to mobilize the Guard. We did it in 3 because we were already ready and we were prepared. We set up this Emergency Operations Center last Saturday. We prepared the executive order last Saturday. Our team has been in constant communication. We set up our command center. We've been working all week. We've been in communication with the city all week. Earlier yesterday, I talked with General Singh and told her to prepare the Guard and get them ready to be activated. So she took a lot of steps to get everybody teed up, kind of on the starting line, ready to act. When the mayor called, I signed an executive order 30 seconds later. The Guard was already on the way.
You said that you started getting ready last Saturday?
Well, we opened up the Emergency Operations Center here in preparation in case there was violence that broke out.
At the initial protest?
Yeah.
And in light of that, was there a point where you actually wanted to call in the Guard?
Look, I don't want to get into what happened before. Let's talk about what we're going to focus on in the future. Right now, we're trying to keep Baltimore City safe, and we're trying to work the best we can with the city and provide as much support as we can. Anybody else? Well, thank you all so much for being here, and let's all hope that tonight's a little safer night. Thank you.
Live coverage on News Channel 8. We've been listening to Maryland Governor Larry Hogan and other officials talking about efforts to keep the peace in Baltimore tonight. Police from various jurisdictions are in Baltimore this evening. They're being shored up by members of the National Guard. Hogan struck a hard tone against anyone who's considering violence tonight. He said it won't be tolerated. Live coverage on News Channel 8 will be here throughout the evening, and we'll be back with more news after this quick break.